Well, the new album Lost is out on Friday.
It is
I'm
indeed.
going to endeavour to get this interview up before then to help build up whatever hype I can.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
No worries, mate. No worries. I checked out the video earlier. It's fucking brutal, to be honest.
Is
It's
this
relentless.
Temporal?
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's one of my favourites we've ever done, I believe. I put it up there with The March, which was from the last album. Yeah, personal favourite.
And that was a single as well, wasn't it?
Yes, it was the last one before the release. I think it was released on the day of the album. That was the big, yeah.
Well, how would you say Lost compares to Kingdom of Lies?
Oh God, it's definitely more aggressive. Definitely more aggressive, and a lot darker, and probably the most intrinsic I've went lyrically as well. Yeah, it's kind of like as heavy as what our first album Terra Firma was, but kind of with like the technical elements of Kingdom of Lies, and then you just add a pandemic on top of it, and then you've got Loss. Yeah, very happy with how it turned out. To forefront this, last night was the first time I'd listened to it since we'd done it. So I had this huge break. We're meant to be doing a listening stream the day before, so I was like, I'll get caught up. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice hearing it again, fresh.
Was it important for you to have that break in between listening to it after going through all the bits and pieces so many times?
Yeah, man. I mean, recording with Osiah is really cathartic. I put a lot of personal tragedy and stuff into the records and stuff. Mentioning Kingdom of Lies again, that was one where I took a long break from finishing it and then reading it. And what actually happened is I found my old lyric book, which I was using to like pen my ideas. And I was just like, wow, like I was going through some shit. And then it's the same thing kind of happened with Lost, but obviously, now I'm on the other end of all this. The lockdown's over and we're starting to get some, life back. I can look back now and it was definitely needed rather than just, I mean, Christ, dude, recording an album is so intense, especially when you care on the craft and, the respect of the other musicians as well. We all put a lot into this, so it's like nearly 24 hours a day. You were sleeping and breathing it, and then you were waking up and then riding with the emotions, and then, so yeah, it's very nice to have a break. Very nice.
Good. This is the first album with Noah on drums as well, I believe.
It is indeed, yes.
Yeah. So obviously he joined a couple of years ago, so you've known him for a little while now.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find recording with him?
Well, Noah actually joined immediately after Kingdom of Lies was released, because the drummer who recorded that album was injured, and looking forward, it was pretty much this wasn't going to be his future to be able to play this style of music and etc. and whatever. So we'd already established like a great working relationship with Noah going into the studio environment. And it was hard for him, man. I know he won't mind me saying that because he conquered it. We're very, very, very proud of Noah. The drum work on this record alongside the guitar work is it's fantastic. Noah's a lot younger than us, but he works well in the environment that we provide. We're not much of a emotionally driven band when it comes to work ethic. Andy Malaby usually takes the forefront and he's like, yep, nope, do it again, that's good, no, take a break. And and that's what you need to get the best product done. You can't be sitting around and being like, oh well, I think you can do this better, mate. And obviously Noah was thrown into that environment and he grew up a lot during it, and very proud of him. Good.
I mean, like you say, it sounds just superb. Just the drums and the guitars, and it just clicks so perfectly. It's inch perfect.
Very much so, mate. Very much so. Forefronted by the instrumentalist of the band, Chris Keepin, who wrote a lot of the technical work on the album, and Andy Malby, who created a lot of like the dark soundscape and stuff on the album and the groovier riffs and stuff. Not that, you know, Keeping didn't have riffs, but, you know, just to let them know how the band works. I was not involved in the instrumentals this time around at all. So it was kind of just like, you know, the product was presented to me to put my finishing touches on it. And, you know, I was definitely the icing on the cake. But it was a great cake to start with, if you know what I mean. So yeah, they worked very well together. It's great. It's from a band perspective, mate, this is great moving forward. You know, if we can work under this stress and produce, it's going to be fine. Whatever the future brings us, bro, we're going to be fine. I'm confident now.
Excellent. Good. That's really good to hear, man.
Nice, man.
Yeah. You've also got some guest appearances on this album as well. You got Jason from Ingested.
Yes.
Ben from Shadow of Intent. How did these collaborations come to be?
I've known Ben for time, man. Like I'm sure we were like Facebook chatting to each other and stuff during the first Shadow of Intent. He obviously had Osiah on his radar. I believe what happened as well is I commented on his wall or something, being like, "Bro, your vocals are like king quality. You're like the best." And then the surrounding echo chamber of metal musicians were like, "Collab, you need to do a song together." So like Terra Firma, which is our first record, I did approach him and it was like, we should do a record together. But with Terra Firma and Kingdom of Lies being a linear concept album, just couldn't make it work, man, because you obviously had to have it wrote and provide him his part, and it just wasn't going to work. But Loss is more of it's still got its concepts, but it's not like a linear structured thing. So when it came around to this third album, it was like, right, bro, now is the perfect time. So that was him settled in. He was well game for it. He absolutely smashed. Almost like one of my favorite guests we've ever had. No, like it's just he fits so perfectly into that section. This is experience and everything, and it's the same with Jason as well. Us and Ingested go back a long time. We've been fans of them since the beginning. You know, Osiah originally, before Osiah was Humanity Depraved, and literally we saw them at Ghost Fest, and I turned around to Keepin, and I was like, we need to be like these with breakdowns. And then that was our journey started. Literally, that was the start of our journey, and we've told this to Ingested many times. So as you can imagine, it's just like getting another family member on the record, man. Like, we're super tight and love those guys to bits, and I know the feeling's mutual.
It's like your big brother turning up.
Definitely, mate. I think I'm actually older than him though, but still we're still brothers in some sense.
You mentioned like some of the lyrical things on this, and like I say, it's not a linear construct. Could you reveal a little bit more about the lyrics on this album?
Yeah. So to preface, obviously, you know, I'd have to say that Terra Firma and Kingdom of Lies were wrote about elements of my past. And I sort of hit this point where, you know, I would say it's my mid-20s. I'm just going to say it's my mid-20s where and probably after Kingdom of Lies, you know, I'd spoke about everything I needed to speak about. And then, you know, with Loss, it's a current record. So rather than like talking about my past, it's essentially just a snapshot, like shot of what I was going through and my thoughts, being isolated and away from everyone and just having recurring memories and stuff like that. So there's loads of stuff about, like, rather than being past environments, it's like, you know, personal stuff. So like Paracusia is based on, can't quite remember it because it was so long ago. It was a folklore story about a guy with two heads. He had like a face on the front and a face on the back. Mordrake. Yes, so it's referenced about Mordrake, but for me, it kind of resembled like a losing battle with mental health. So you had, you know, your front face and attitude of wanting to travel forwards, but you had this voice in the back of your head that was always speaking of hell and the torture and stuff like that. And, you know, people who had, you know, anxiety and depression going into this lockdown, man, like it just got blown. So that was definitely something that I wanted to write about. You know, it was one of the songs where it even wasn't told in the story. It was just, you know, this is the reality of what this is, you know. And there's many elements on that. Stuff like the Ominous Mind is about a similar one. The Ominous Minds. I'll do this super quick, bro. I'm sorry, I'm such a rambler. Tom G, which the Ominous Mind is, it's wrote about kind of. So the lyrics describes being in a desert and trying to find an oasis and knowing that that's your safe space. And I kind of think that's similar to mental health. You can be like, if I can just get to this bit and just stay in this bit where I'm safe, I can just grow, and then I can move on. But as many people don't know about oases, the water there you can't drink because it's just stagnant and it rots, and it attracts like more danger. And if you stay there, you're going to make it worse. You know what I mean? You've got to somehow find a way, whatever way it is, just to reach out and just get out of that bit because it's not working and it's not safe. And that's something I felt during that. You know what I mean? I had a lot of, you know, am I doing things right in my life? Am I where I should be at 35? You know what I mean? Et cetera, et cetera. Should I have done more? And after penning it down, it's now going to be fuel for this way. You know what I mean? No more of that, you know, more Drake back of the head.
Yeah.
It's just straightforward now, bro.
That's pretty good, man. I mean, I can relate to that myself. And I'm sure there's thousands of other people that can as well. So
yeah,
millions. So it's a really good subject to tackle, and also a really intelligent way of going about it, I think.
Yeah, we've referenced things like this in the past on albums and stuff like that, and I've had people come up to me and say one line and just be like, what do you mean by that? And I was like, you know what I mean. Because only someone who's thought this previously could know what this means. You know what I mean? So it's hidden all over. But the people who, you know, have it will find it. And I like that about, you know, I like the lads let me write like that as well. You know, the boys give me as much creative freedom as I want with lyrical writing. So, yeah, I hope it helps, man. I just want people to know that, you know, like, Osiah comes from a place of love of the music. You know, music got us through everything. We're one of them. We're 100% those guys. You know what I mean? We've been through it, and we use music to get through it. You know what I mean? And I just hope that, you know, one person, if just one person hears it and it just helps, then that's my job done.
Yeah. Good stuff. It's really, really. I've always liked like metaphors and what's the word?
Similes and
allegories. That's the one.
Yes.
So that's a really cool way of going about it.
I appreciate
there's times, you know, when it helps to be direct, but I think as well when it's a bit more, not quite vague, but a bit more shrouded, then it's like when you decipher that for yourself, it becomes so much more meaningful.
Definitely, and I think it's got a lot more interpretation for like variables as well. You know, I do have some bands that do talk direct. I'll hype Bound in Fear for this. You know, Ben's very open about like his past and stuff like that. And he likes to take a direct approach to his lyric writing. But myself, I like to make your own mind up on it. You know, it'll cover a broad range. You know what I mean? And if you can find it in there and find some solace in one lyric, then perfect. Job done for me.
Absolutely. Well, something else very striking about the album is the artwork. This is so cool, this artwork. It's
man.
It's probably my favourite that I've seen this year, to be honest.
Oh, thanks, man.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. We've always, well, I'm not going to say always. Since Kingdom of Lies, we've opted to try and do something unique every time. Yeah. The Kingdom of Lies artwork, which is on my wall above us there, it was done by a computer programmer. So it was actually a 3D scape, which was very different. No, not many people had done that stuff. And then when we came into this record, it was just like, right, what imagery like defines what we're going through and stuff like that. And from day one, like I wanted the album to be called Loss. And, you know, we discussed color themes. Andy really wanted to go for purple because we wanted every album to have a different color scheme. Like Terraform was red. Kingdom of Lies is like, a lot of greens and stuff like that. And then obviously this one's purple, based on some of the most evil stuff you've ever imagined. Very inspired by Destiny, I've got to admit. It's I was playing a lot of Shadowkeep, which is one of the expansions.
Yeah.
And it's so dark and it's so sorrowful and so torturous. And while I was playing it in this mindset, it almost felt like home, coming into this storyline that I was playing with friends and conquering it together and stuff like that. So when I got to the artwork, I was just like, all I can see is this, you know what I mean? And then Shindy just killed it, man. Jesus, absolutely killed it. So yeah, thank you, man. Like, a lot of people have been talking about the artwork, and I think it's very important that people do consider the total package. You know, artwork, like song titles, you know, and they all, you know, image, music, text. I think it's the full. Yeah, it's all.
Even the running order, man. It's like, it's
yes,
all
yes,
works.
1,000,000%. Even Tom G feels kind of like a natural end for the record, and then 3 tracks, I believe, after it. Let me just look at this. Yeah, there's 3 tracks after it, and they are crazy personal songs at the end of it. Sella et Audax, which I've probably butchered, is about our friend Kev, who was a Green Jacket who committed suicide after coming back and having no place because veterans. You know what I mean? Like, Echoes is another one about like previous trauma and already lived. I mean, you can already imagine having a title called Already Lived, and coming from someone who's talks about depression and suicide all the time, to have something called Already Lived as the closing track on the record is, there's the text at it again. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ, your lyrics are more brutal than the music somehow.
We live in the grim north, bro. We live in the grim north, so yeah, it's it all goes in, man. And honestly, it's not just the lyrics. It reflects the guitar work and the tone of the band and the instrumentation and everything and the energy. It all comes from a place of, and you can feel it, man. When people hear the record, you know, you can get half. I did it last night. I got halfway through it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we were really going through something here, you know. So but you know, I've heard albums similar to myself where I've just been like, fuck yeah, if this guy can talk about this, it's like, you know what I mean. Hatebreed are some of my favorites for that, you know. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm hoping that everyone else feels it too, and if they don't, you know, hopefully they find another band that does give them what they want.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like you say, it's a complete package. It's art as art, and art is going to speak to you in different ways, you know.
1,000,000%, bro. 1,000,000%. I love the color purple, man, as well. It's, you know, obviously it's the largest color spectrum there is. You know what I mean? Like, you can see many colors of purple and go, that's purple, but you can only do that with so much of greens and blues and reds. And I think that also is another, you know, key thing of being like, there's so many shades and variants to this one thing, you know. It's music, image, text, bro. I'm really glad that you picked up on that one, because it's a deep one. It's a very deep one, this record.
And it's funny as well that you mentioned Destiny. I was actually thinking Castlevania looking at it.
Someone said Bloodborne the other day or something like that, or it's similar. It's many games that I haven't played, but I will. They're on my radar now. I mean, hell, bro, it could have been. It could have been if I was playing them at the time. You know what I mean? It's just, and I really related to that. And, you know, obviously I wasn't the forefront of the imagery. You know, the Andy and Keeping had a huge say in it, but, you know, that stops it being from just a Destiny rip off with another 2, like, you know, artists come involved, and it's just like, I think we should do this, I think we should have this, and we should. It's great. This is now Osiah. It's, you know what I mean, like, now that all 3 of us have got a finished product, this is now, you know.
I was just thinking through train of thought there, and like you say, you want to do something unique with every album cover, and well, every album as a whole, but have each album cover be so different. And I was just kind of thinking, by the time the 4th one comes out, someone going, what the fuck is this? And you going, I was playing The Sims a lot at the time.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was settling down, starting a family, playing The Sims a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a complete. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine like the juxtaposed lives? Well, bro, anything could happen. You know what I mean? We didn't even think that this was going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we'll see, bro, and we'll hopefully we'll talk about it again then. And we'll see how different we both are.
Yeah. Moving away from video games a little bit. A lot of people kind of describe the band's third album as like the make or break album, or a very important album in the band. Did you feel any pressure with Loss being the third album, or was it just?
No, to be honest, I do know exactly what you're saying. But my format is the second album. You know, some of my favorite bands growing up, like Killswitch Engage and Trivium, you know, Trivium had Embers to Inferno, and then it was Ascendancy, and that was massive. And then the Killswitch Engage, was it Alive or Just Breathing, and then End of Heartache? Was that the way it works? Once again, self-titled EP, maybe like an EP or something. It was a shorter one, then they redid it and added more, and then someone's probably going to go ham about us not knowing this, but yeah, I mean, you know, first record was released on Siege Music, and then second album was released on Unique Leader, and then so for all of us, it was like, right, that's the second album. You know, this is the one where it's make or break, and then obviously, you know, we're meant to be touring and pushing the record, and things happen and stuff like that. So by the time we got around to this, we were just hungry for it.
Yeah,
you know, it was completely the opposite. And new lineup, new attitude. Like I say, first record where I wasn't doing any of the like instrumentals, and it was just like, right, now's the time for all of us to do our own war on this record. You know. And it's like, and you can hear it, the guitar work and the drum work, and obviously, you know, that resulted in the vocal work. So no pressure. In fact, it was probably the opposite. We really wanted to get this out.
Good. It must be so weird for you not to be involved in the instrumentals this time around, considering it started as your baby, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a weird one to describe, and I think we're just trying to get a little bit more open about this, because a lot of people don't quite understand the scenario of what happened. But even on like Reborn Through Hate, which was the first EP, it was a lot of the guitar work was Keepin'. And Ronan, who was the guitarist at the time as well, and then kind of just didn't work. The drumming was ridiculous for what we needed. We couldn't find a drummer who could do it. It was just really difficult to do, so we took a break. I went on to do X's for Eyes. Half the lads went on to a band called Nick Silver. Keepin' went on to do... Yeah, we all went all over. Keepin' was Reflection Exiled. Yeah. So when it got round to doing... wanted to do Osiah again, basically I came to the end of X's for Eyes, and myself and the drummer from that band was just like, right, let's do a single. I'm going to use this as a catalyst, which was Perennial Agony, if you've heard that track. And when Perennial Agony dropped, people were just like, we need a live band. I want to see this live. I need to see this live. And it was like, well, here we go. And it was just like, Keepin', like Ronan, Carl, like we had the band already there, you know what I mean? We were just so once that happened, you know, but obviously everyone associates me with, you know, like sort of like a solo project thing, but it was essentially just because I was just keeping it alive by myself. Right. You know, I did like the production and finished one or two songs that we hadn't finished by myself, you know, and then when we got to Kingdom Terra Firma, I already had tons of ideas. I was writing riffs and stuff like that, but I could already feel there was a natural essence to Osiah, which wasn't who I was, you know, and the version of Osiah that I wanted to make just wasn't Osiah, man. So I went off and done solo projects and stuff like that to get like the other stuff out, but it's essentially just been the same writing force from the beginning, you know, especially Keepin's wrote every record that we've ever released apart from Perennial, but you know.
Yeah.
So, but people, you know, people don't see it.
No.
People go on Spotify or they'll look at the YouTube videos and just be like, I know the band. And then they take the image that they've seen and construct the story. And Metal Encyclopedia or something said that I kicked all the members of the band out and invited them back, and just so yeah, it's very nice to discuss it, mate. I really appreciate asking that, because it gives us a chance to set the record straight. But you know, like, you know, let's say I was like 60% involved in instrumentals, and then Terra Firma I was like 40%, then Kingdom of Lies I think I wrote like 2 songs on it or something, and then by the time we got a Loss, it was just like, hey boys, let's write a true Osiah record, you know what I mean? Let's just write it from the heart to the core, and then this is us now, man.
Yeah, that's quite interesting though, in that regard. The Loss is almost like the first true Osiah record.
Yeah, it's it's crazy to think about from the long term, man. You know, and you know, it's funny because people are listening to it and going, "This is true Osiah. This is definitely Osiah." And it's like there's been a huge, not huge, but there's an apparent songwriter shift where you know, Andy Malaby as well is writing a lot of the instrumentation, and he wrote some on Kingdom of Lies and nothing, I don't think, on Terra Firma. So it's literally a full new songwriting team on the record, and everyone who's heard the record is just like, yep, this is Osiah at its finest. They've figured it out. And for me, that's kind of like, well, yeah, I'll step back and let you do what you want, but that also gave me an opportunity to be like, right, it's time to do my job as a vocalist now. This is the only job I've got, and it gave me a chance to focus as well. So interesting.
Well, you smashed it on this, from what I've heard. It's been fucking spot on.
Thank you, man.
No worries, dude. I need to tell the truth. Just finally then, obviously at the moment, we're starting to shift away from lockdown and all that kind of thing, but there's still problems going on. And I think you were scheduled to play Tech Fest, and that's been postponed for a year.
Yeah.
So what plans have you got in place to help promote Loss further?
We have a gig at the end of next month, I believe, if this still goes off. Smash Fest in Southampton, I believe. I'm terrible with this stuff, my dude. I'm one of those tell me what time I need to get to the van type of guys, and then everything else I'm just working and doing whatever it is, and then, you know, but we have a tour at the end of beginning midpoint of December with Bound in Fear and God Eater. And bro, honestly, if the government turns around, and I saw they did some massive show in Liverpool or something where there was like if the government turns around and goes, yep, we've nailed it, open up, we'd be like, right, we've got like an American booking agent now, we've got a European booking agent, and we'll just be like, right boys, let's go. Like anything will do. Like, as long as, you know, we can afford to do it, we'll do it, you know. But I think at this point, many bands are kind of at that like booking for next year, maybe the end of this year, you know. So it's like, it's you know, we're hoping to do as much as we can on social media, and we're going to try and document as much as we can, and we've got plenty of material for people to, you know, see the insides of the band. But in terms of road, not a lot, bro. Not a lot yet, until it's all fully confirmed.
Well, all the same, it's I say the album looks and sounds like it's going to be powerful enough to make waves on its own, let alone
with the
live performances. So I do think it's going to really push you guys forward. It sounds so crisp. So intense.
Christian did an incredible job on it. I remember going through the process with him, and I was like, oh my god, this is absolutely ridiculous. It's a definite sound shift as well. I think we've been more about like the sledgehammer in previous records, but I think this one's kind of like a knife repeatedly stabbing into you, like a small knife, like 1,000 cuts rather than one big hammer blow. And I think Christian like absolutely crushed that mix for that. And it fits the artwork, fits the themes. It's perfect, man. A beautiful marriage of talents of all came to this record.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, Ricky, thank you very much for talking to me this season, mate. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate the time, bro. Like, thanks for wanting to hear about it. Let me
no problem.
ramble on.
When Lisa emailed me that you were available, I was like, yeah, I'm on that.
Love that, mate. Love that. We're always open for stuff like this, mate. Like, we are genuinely grateful for every single listen every single share and every single person who just wants to talk about the record. So thank you sincerely from the whole band.
No problem, mate. Thank you.